With the children of the vault having given everything to humanity, universal healthcare, technology beyond any of humanity's wildest dreams, and the promise of becoming just like them, how can Cable and Bishop ever hope to turn humanity against the children? What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Children of the Vault number 3, written by Denise Camp, with art by Luca Maresca and color by Carlos Lopez. So when we get to this issue, the thing that I found very interesting about the setup here is that Orchis has largely stayed out of the conflict between the children of the vault, or rather now the children of tomorrow, and mutant kind. They pretty much stayed out of it. And as the children of the vault evolved into the children of tomorrow and made their presence known to humanity, offering so many different amazing gifts, technology, life-extending medications and drugs, the promise of a better tomorrow overall, Orchis has largely kept their hands up, effectively saying they don't want the smoke. And the thing I wondered is, what would it take for Orchis to actually get involved in any of this? Was there anything that the children of tomorrow could do that could potentially galvanize Orchis into striking back against them? And while we know that Orchis has no love for the children of tomorrow, as was clearly evidenced by Jonathan Hickman's X-Men number 1, they literally had one of the children of the vault captive in one of their facilities and was experimenting on her, and that was the character Serafina. So we know by now Orchis is keenly aware of who they are and what they're capable of. But Cable does something in this issue that I thought was pretty damn awesome, and it's one of those deals where Cable has been using his telepathy more and more and more since his resurrection in Jerry Duggan's Cable number 11. And it's not to say he wasn't using it before, he did, but he hasn't been using it, at least in my own humble opinion, on quite this level. And what Cable has done is that he's used his telepathy to place a thought inside of an Orchis scientist's mind that made him believe they were being targeted by the children's amalgam of Marvel Universe viruses, the Message. And technically, this isn't exactly a lie. Everyone is being infected by it because the Message has gone, well, for lack of a better way to put it, viral. The very same virus that I detailed in my video for Children of the Vault number 1. If you haven't seen that video and you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go check out this video up here and you can learn all about that. But the Message has evolved to the point where it's not just an airborne virus that spreads from mind to mind through memes and videos and news articles and things of that nature. It's evolving simply by word of mouth now. People are freaking out because, while yes, there are people who love the children of tomorrow and everything they stand for, there are people now who are starting to become aware of what the Message actually is. And while they don't know precisely exactly what it is and what it actually is meant to do, they're still afraid nonetheless. This Message is creating mass hysteria to the point where even though people are starting to talk back against it and try to lessen the Message's efficacy, actually working the opposite direction, because the Message is evolving now to the point where even when people try not to talk about it or spread it to other humans, it still spreads anyway, because even when people try to deny it, it finds a way around the narrative and still inserts itself right back where it wants to be. This virus has affected how everyone perceives the children of the vault, and Orchis is now worried that they're falling under threat of the exact same thing. And this is dangerous because the Message effectively tricks humans into believing that the children of tomorrow actually have their best interests at heart, that they are going to elevate them to their level to make them children of tomorrow. That's just not true. At least it's only 1% true, because as we learned in the previous issue, and once again, if you have not checked out my video for that, it's up here, but one of the things that came up in that issue was that it was revealed that only 1% of humanity can actually survive the evolution process to become a child of tomorrow. And the children of tomorrow are not telling anyone this. This is a very well-kept secret amongst them. Orchis is taking all of this Message business personally, and rightfully so. Not only have they taken it personally, they are taking great pains to increase their security measures to make sure that they are no longer under any form of manipulation, and now they are launching their own strikes against the children of tomorrow, and unknowingly in tandem with Cable and Bishop's own two-man assault, utilizing weapons from Cable's vault of the future's deadliest WMDs in existence, while Orchis sends OG and new school sentinels after the children. Even with all that, the children are still too powerful for them, and I mean, come on. They've already absorbed and dissipated several singularities, withstood several hammer strikes from the Orchis Forge, and the Sentinels are being torn to shreds. But the real victory here is not any of that. It's the fact that they've changed perception, because once again, you have to change hearts and minds in order to affect real, actual change. And that's exactly what they've done. They have gotten Orchis into the fight. Despite the fact that Orchis is public enemy #1 to all mutant kind, still, having Orchis in the fight exponentially increases the odds of Cable and Bishop's success in taking the Children of Tomorrow down, because as the old saying goes, is the enemy of my enemy my friend or my enemy? And while I think that saying grows less and less reasonable with the passage of time, one thing is true. Just because one person is your enemy's enemy doesn't mean they can't be useful to you, and that's exactly what's going on here. Orchis is now being useful to mutant kind, even if they don't think it. Not only that, Cable and Bishop's actions have galvanized people to start to question what the Children of Tomorrow's true intentions really are. And all it takes is one spark to ignite an inferno, and that's exactly what's happening. Cable's trick on Orchis has made them take a more proactive stance against the Children of Tomorrow when they didn't even want the smoke originally. And while the Children of Tomorrow still have their supporters, and because humanity is starting to question the Children of Tomorrow and their methods and what they're trying to do, meaning that there's more negative attention coming towards them than what they initially wanted to pull off their plan, this means that Serafina's efforts to subjugate humanity quietly is now being seen as a failure in the eyes of not just her rival, Capitan, her biggest critic by this point, but also the other children, to the point that the elevationists are losing ground to the traditionalists, who are now getting exactly what they want: total destruction of humanity, unleashing a child of tomorrow who's literally the epitome of scorched earth tactics, a character by the name of Muerte 13, a living weapon whose only purpose is to destroy, as their name might imply. A child of tomorrow we've yet to see before now. A lot of the animosity and tension between Bishop and Cable in this issue is addressed. I like the idea that it does seem like while they are slowly learning how to work together, there's still bad blood between them, and it makes sense because they literally waged war against each other across time. They're not gonna just be taking windy walks together anytime soon, but it does seem like they're starting to slowly get closer to going in that direction, and I like it. I mean, yeah, the banter between them arguing about what gun from the future is better than the other, the notion of who should have been driving when they were engaging in their assault on the Children of Tomorrow's base. I like that because it's showing character growth for not just each individual character, but also for the chemistry between them. But that said, I do appreciate what's going on here with Cable and Bishop's assault, how they're both taking on various aspects of the Children of Tomorrow, where by the time we get to the end, Bishop is taking on Madre, the overseer of the Children of Tomorrow, who we were actually introduced to earlier on in Jonathan Hickman's X-Men series, and where Cable is literally holding a gun to the City Mind's head. Not to mention as Serafina dives into Oversight, which is basically allowing her to see everything and all possibilities, everything going on around the world and through space and time, all possibilities and probabilities. It's here where she finally recognizes the dominion that is forthcoming, the very thing that has been hinted and teased at since House of X and Powers of 10, ever since the beginning of this entire era of X-Men comics, and was even more specifically revealed during the finale of Sins of Sinister. Serafina is now keenly aware of what it is, and that it is something that they are not prepared to face. Even the Children of Tomorrow are not ready for the smoke that's coming from the Dominion. The real question here is, what is Serafina gonna do knowing what she knows now? While technically Cable is holding a gun to the City Mind, we know Serafina has the capacity for rational thought. While she may not care for mutants, she definitely doesn't care to be destroyed. And something that we saw happen during Jerry Duggan's X-Men series, where Serafina had seemingly let Forge get away with taking Talon out of the vault, the original Lara Kinney. She didn't have to let her leave. Now, granted, I wondered if the Children of Tomorrow did something to Talon that would make it perfectly okay for Serafina to let her walk away willy-nilly. I'm pretty sure that is very likely the case. However, I feel like Serafina is definitely someone, at least of all of the Children of Tomorrow, who could probably be talked down from, I won't necessarily say hating mutants, but being more inclined to work with them to stop a common threat, and that common threat is going to be the Dominion. Right now, Serafina is one of the only other people that is not a Sinister who could warn mutant kind about what's coming. And granted, while technically it's not to say that any of the Sinisters wouldn't mention it, they're not inclined to say anything. They're all operating, trying to become a Dominion, and it's not really in any of their best interests to warn anybody about it. So the only one who could really do anything about it right now is Serafina. It's gonna be pretty big, and I can't wait to see where this is gonna go. Once again, we got one more issue of this series. It's all gonna end with Children of the Vault number 4. I'm hoping Denise Camp surprises me with what Serafina chooses to do, considering the fact that right now, the Children of Tomorrow are probably more fractured now than they were before, and the idea that not everyone sees eye to eye in that group. There probably are people whose hearts and minds can be changed, even if it's only slightly. There's also a lot of social and political commentary in this issue, which should not be any surprise if you've read the previous 2 issues. The previous 2 issues are chock full of social, economic, and political commentary, and I'm here for it. And I will definitely say, in light of recent events, there is a little bit of commentary, not a lot, just a little bit of commentary that might trigger some people, maybe. I don't know. I definitely felt a little bit of a type of way when there was a certain scene that pops up in this issue where it kind of mirrors some things that we have seen going on in the real world regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict right now. And while I am not here to talk about that, I'm gonna leave that conversation to those who care to have it. Not to say that I don't want to have it, and not to say I don't know what is going on. It's just that there's a time and a place for that conversation, and it's not in a video about this comic. Though I will definitely say, if you want to have that conversation or listen to people have that conversation, I highly recommend you check out one of Blerd Co's own, one of Earth's own mightiest subscribers, Beta Boy TV, over on Twitch and on YouTube. That is the place I would say go if you want to have that conversation. If you ever hang out in any of his streams, you might even get to see my opinion on it, because I'm always hanging out in his chat. But that said, there's also other political commentary here in regards to, once again, addressing propaganda that's being created to indoctrinate children with racist and xenophobic rhetoric, very similar to the in real life PragerU video library that is infiltrating schools across the country. There is lots of commentary here that I think is really important, and I'm here for it. I love it. It's not even necessarily adding anything to the story that wasn't already there, but it is definitely extra flavor to just show how far oftentimes fiction imitates reality, and reality imitates fiction. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, do the YouTube thing, hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos throughout the week, plus my live streams every Saturday. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, let me know what you thought about Children of the Vault number 3. Keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.